Hello and welcome in to the Retirement Playbook, brought to you by Alspaugh Wealth Management. Hello, folks. I'm Brock Alspaugh, as always, joined by Mr. Tony Shore. Hello, Tony. How you doing?
Hello, Mr. Alspaugh. You are a madman. The
Oh,
way
hell.
you've been helping your clients and doing all the math so I don't have to. I
All
love
that madness stuff.
it. yeah, all that crazy finance stuff, investments, insurance options.
We're
Y-
definitely living on the wild side, Tony. There's
you
no
and your
question
friends
about it.
going
Yeah.
cow tipping. I remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's in the 80s. Okay, Tony. I don't
The
want to talk
80s.
about the 80s
Yeah,
anymore.
we've got nope. Yeah, let's not bring up the 80s, what I was doing. I don't even know if you were born yet in the 80s. I
I
was,
was. I
yeah.
was. I was. In fact, I just celebrated my birthday this week, number 47, buddy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look
Yeah.
good for 47. Yeah, you
See,
don't
now
look a
you're making my day. Here
you
we
don't look
go.
a day over 35.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
My man, Tony.
That's the working out. That's what it does for you. And obviously I work out. The exercise I get between my table and the pizza buffet and back again, those trips.
Those 12-ounce curls, I tell you what, they do the
12
body good.
girls.
Yeah. Yeah. All right,
Or
folks. Well, listen,
16
we've
ounce
got a
Mountain Dews.
yeah, there you go. We have a great show for you to lined up today, and actually, it's a common theme here that you've been hearing from Alspaugh Wealth Management all month long here, and it's going to talk about rollover. So, should you do a rollover or should you stay put? And that's coming up next year. But before we get into that, I want you to go to my website, folks. It's alspaughwealthmanagement.com, all spelled out, and you're going to see some great information on there. There's going to be past shows, they're recorded. There's going to be a link to our YouTube page. So please, if you haven't, please go to our YouTube page. Just search Alspaugh Wealth Management. You'll see a lot of short clips and previous shows from Tony and I doing this here every single week, bringing you some great information. And then also, if you want to just, say, hey, this is great information on our website, but I need to take this a step further and actually get a consultation. We're here. That's what we do for you, folks. Yes, we love doing this podcast, but we're here to help you in your life. So if you want to take it a step further, give us a call, schedule an appointment, 573-332-7855. Or again, you can actually schedule that consultation right there on our website. There's a top of the screen. There's a button that says schedule a call. You can hit that button and we'll get notified and we'll give you a call to schedule that one-time free consultation. All right, Tony, we are ready to rock and roll. Are you having a great week, by the way?
Oh, I am actually having a good week. You know what's coming up? And
I didn't say good. I said great.
yeah, I'm having a great week. You know what? You know what's happening to me this weekend? And I'm going to date myself here. My 40th high school reunion.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. I graduated in 1984. So this is our 40th. And here's the funny thing, my hometown of Worthington, Minnesota, their big festival each year is Turkey Days. They have the Turkey Days and they have turkey races, and then they have a huge parade.
Turkey races?
I know, it's kind of funny. They have a huge parade, and we have a sister city in
Is
Texas.
there turkeys in the parade?
Nope, they race before the parade. They have the main street, people are lined up for the parade, but then they have these barricades and they run the turkeys, and the Texas folks from this town in Texas bring up their turkey and they race our turkey. And our turkey is ruby begonia. Even when the turkey passes, there's a new ruby begonia. And the turkeys are always have the same name, but two turkeys race, and they have the turkey handlers trying to chase them down the street. But they're running all over, trying to fly into the crowd, scaring kids. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I'm going to be in the parade this year because they're having this big flatbed trailer with a banner that says Worthington High School Trojans class of 84. And we're all going to be standing up there throwing out candy.
Oh my goodness. Hey, don't hit some kid in the head with a red hot, okay? Those things hurt.
I've been working on my
Those
arm.
atomic bombs,
Yeah, I've been working on my throw.
Have you?
Curveball. Yep.
That's great. That's great. Well, anyway, that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. I don't we got football on Friday night. Big game coming up, actually. Edwardsville, Illinois is coming down to Jackson and playing us.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big game. They're class 8 in Illinois, so a big time school. They're always good, but we're pretty good too, so it's going to be a good game.
You're going to the game?
Of course, yeah. My son plays. Yeah. Yep. So
I
he's a
can't wait.
senior, and then I've got a freshman coming up too. So I'm going to be Friday Night Lights for like the next 20 years. It feels like, Tony. But
That's good. That's fun. You love it though.
yeah,
Don't
we
kid
do.
yourself.
We do.
So you
We do.
got a great week happening too
Oh
because
yeah.
of the game. Yeah.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Now when you say rollover or stay
Yeah.
put, we're talking about 401ks and retirement accounts like 403bs, 457s, 401ks. Pretty much everyone I know has a 401k. So this is going to be a great topic. Where do you want to start?
It's one of those things, Tony, that, when you've been doing this as long as I have, I've been doing this for 20 years. Okay. And it is always, no matter what is happening in the economy, no matter what's happening, in the political environment, it doesn't matter. People are changing jobs probably more often now than they ever have. And one of the reasons why is because of COVID, right? And people are in high demand still. The job market is still very strong. Unemployment is still at around 4%. So, people are changing jobs quite a bit. And so when you have that, you've got this flow of money in our economy in retirement accounts. And so, what do we do with that money? Do we let it just stay in that 401k, or do we roll it over to an IRA, or and this is not an option, folks, but it is technically an option, but you can cash it out, right? And so we don't want you to do that because of obvious reasons, right?
Right.
Taxes, penalties, and then also just the opportunity cost of the growth on that money for the next 10, 20, and even 30 years. So, a 401k rollover is simply taking money out of your account and moving that to a tax advantaged retirement account like an IRA. If you have adopted, if you've listened to us, here at on the Retirement Playbook, we've talked about Roth IRAs, Tony,
Yep.
and the powerful tool of that. And so they've adopted that in many 401ks. So you'll see a lot of people have Roth 401k balances within their retirement accounts. And they've been very, very happy to do that, or if they did do that, Tony, because the market has gone up quite a bit here in the
Yeah.
last, well, even 10 years. We've averaged over 8% in the S&P 500, and actually a little bit closer to 10 in some other aspects of it. So the point is that when you have that growth, that kind of growth on their money. So if you average 10%, for example, it would take you 7.2 years to double that money. And if that you've doubled your money, that means you've put in, let's just use round numbers. You got a $200,000 balance. You've put in 100. So that means you've got $100,000 of growth. That 100,000 of growth, Tony, if you have it in that Roth 401k, is completely tax free when you take it out in retirement if you follow the rules. So that is a huge, huge advantage. Some people say, well, the market goes down, and I've lost all of that because I had to pay taxes on it and it's gone down in value. And so we used to have that conversation of, okay, let's convert some of your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. But if the market went down, we would do what we call recharacterization. Well, you can't do that anymore. So when you do a Roth conversion now, you got to make sure it's the right time and right situation. But I digress a little bit there. The point is this: the 401k is a very, very powerful tool. We all know that. And if you get a match at your employer, take 100% advantage of it, right? So at least do what they're going to give you as a match. But when you're ready and you've left that job and you've moved on, or maybe you've retired, you got to make sure you do something about it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't always mean rolling it over to an IRA. What I mean by doing something about it is, look, if you're going to keep it in that existing 401k, you better keep an eye on it and
Yeah.
make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do from not only a performance level, but a risk adjusted performance level. Well, what does that mean, Brock? That means that the risk level of your portfolio needs to match your time horizon, your risk tolerance, all of these, your goals and objectives, to make sure that it's invested the way it should be for you.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the problem with 401ks is that you don't have a lot of control over where it's invested. There's limited control, which is
Well,
one
actually, you
reason.
have all of the control. That's the issue, Tony, is that it's your responsibility to make sure that it's invested in the right funds within
Right,
that
but it's
401k.
not actively managed by
Right.
professionals, and
Right.
that's why you might want to roll it into an IRA, because then you have even more control,
You
right?
do. You do.
But
Now,
then
some
but then
people
you
would
can
argue.
use active managers like yourself,
Right.
and you use Grading Investments and other firms to manage that money, right?
Right. Right. So, what I would say about that, Tony, is that some plans offer a quasi management service. Okay. And what I mean by that is they will maybe send you a questionnaire about you and what other money you might have. They're going to ask you some risk tolerance questions. And this is all good, by the way. This is not disparaging these kinds of services.
No.
They're good. They're just not quite as comprehensive as going and seeing a financial advisor and having it actively managed by professionals that are continuing to monitor your situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
So
not every company even does that, where they send out the survey and
100%.
ask those
Right.
questions. I mean,
Yep.
some companies I remember on the, I don't even know if this is legal anymore, and this has been a while, but one of my
What was
first,
it from the 80s? It's probably
one,
not legal anymore.
it may have been one of the first times I participated as an employee in a 401k when I signed up. It was literally like high risk, medium risk, low risk. You checked one of the three boxes.
I remember. I've been doing this for 20 years, man. I remember, man. I agree. That is not a way to make sure that you can get to your retirement date and
No.
not run out of money.
Am I high, medium, or low risk? Check. Done. That's all. That's all I did for
Thank
my
you. Please drive
401k.
through.
Yeah. And they didn't even tell me what I had to contribute, to get the full match. I had to dig to find that out. And so
Right.
some companies are better than others. Some plans are better than others. But Brock, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say, I mean, I have a cautionary tale for people. And I've heard it said that when you leave a company, even if it's to go to another company, you shouldn't leave your 401k at that company, because if you're not working there, why should your money be? And
Yeah.
I've heard that said, and I did that. And one of the problems with doing that is I forgot about it. What happened to me is I worked 5 years for a company, then they got bought out by a larger company. We all
Mhm.
moved over into their space. I did the same job, but it was for this new owner at a new location. But I didn't do anything with my 401k. Little did I know when I signed up for benefits, there was a new
Mhm.
401k, and I assumed they would move my money over. Nope.
Yeah. So you
And
know
I
what
forgot
assuming
about it.
does, right? So we so we got to make sure
Yeah,
that we're making all of our money is where it's supposed to be and
sure.
and performing well. So here's the point, Tony, is that I would generally agree with that statement, by the way, that you made earlier, which is if you're not working there anymore, don't let your money work there. Don't leave your 401k behind if you leave. I would generally agree with that statement. And here's why I generally agree with it is because if you are working with a financial services professional outside of that 401k,
Mhm.
they've got the plan developed for you to make sure that you can get to retirement and not run out of money. So
Right.
it's not just about asset management, because really that's what we're talking about here is
Yeah.
just managing that particular asset. It's about how that asset fits into your entire pie of all of the assets that you have. So if that's the case, why don't we make sure that it's being professionally managed and continually and daily or monthly or quarterly being monitored to make sure that that asset will be there in conjunction with your other assets to where you have a plan to distribute that to where you don't run out of money. That's the bottom line. There you go. There's the summary right there. So I generally do agree with that statement, Tony. Now, here's where some scenarios where that wouldn't, maybe be the truth.
Sure.
Not truth, but the way to go. Is that if you are younger, okay, and you are willing and able to look and after and make sure that a 401k that you had is continuing to be invested and perform the way it needs to perform. and it's a smaller amount. Okay, so if you've got $5,000 to $10,000 in a 401k, sometimes it may be the advice and the correct advice to leave it there. Okay, and I will tell you that there's a lot of advisors that are not going to. They'll advise you, but are not going to go through the process of opening an IRA and managing that small of an asset. Okay.
Sure.
And so anyway, so that may
But
not
you
even
could
be
roll it
enough.
into your new
Exactly.
if it's going from one employer to the next, you might as well roll it into your current
Exactly.
401k, right?
And that was option number one, either leave
Yeah.
it there, or then option two, as you just described, Tony, is rolling it to your new job,
Yeah.
rolling it to your new provider if they have a plan and if that plan allows for rollovers. Okay. So there's just like everything in this business, which is, by the way, the reason why I love what I do and I come to work every day and I'm energized and ready to go is because I love what I do. Why? Because every day is different. And everybody's situation is different. Everybody's puzzle is different. We have different pieces of the puzzle. It's how we put it together. And so there's things that people can do that will help them meet their goals and objectives. And one of them is, again, rolling it to an IRA, staying put in the existing 401k, and then moving into a new to the new job 401k that they might have available. Again, they may not have a 401k. They may go to an employer that's got a simple IRA. Okay. They may go to an employer that doesn't offer retirement benefits. There's lots of situations where you wouldn't be able to even roll to the new plan. So
yeah, a lot of our listeners may ask about another option that you didn't mention there, and that is cashing it out. But why is that a bad idea? I knew you'd make that face. So a lot of people like, well, I got $10,000 in there rather than bother with that. I want to get this or that. Why is cashing out a retirement account a bad idea?
Listen, if you don't understand why it's not a good idea, then there's not much I can say, right? Because it's just and I don't mean to be like that, but my goodness, like, look, you're going to pay taxes, you're going to pay penalties, you're going to have opportunity costs gone out the window. That money's not going to grow for you, and people say, well, wait a minute, I want to pay off some debt that I have. Okay. So now we have debt. So we have a fundamental, maybe it's a credit card. Okay. Maybe it's just a car loan that has $10,000 left. And you're saying, well, you know what? I'll just pay it off. No, don't do it. If you're going to have to pay taxes, if you're going to have to pay penalties, it's not worth it. Okay. Keep making your payments and pay off that loan.
That money's for retirement anyway, right? You shouldn't touch it. You can't touch it before 59 and a half without a 10% penalty. And that 10% is on top of, like you said, the taxes that you would owe on that money, because that's taxable money.
It's a bad idea, Tony. It's a bad idea all around. Now, listen, I've seen people do it and they don't care. Like, hey, I'm just going to start all over. It's only 10 grand. It's not going to make any difference anyway. Well, how about that 10 grand grows to 20, 30, 40, 50,000 by the time you retire? That does make interest.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And so, and then I've also heard this, Tony. Well, that market is just going to go down anyway. And, I'm just going to cash it out. Oh, so now we're market timers. We know exactly when the market's going to go up and when exactly it's going to go down. No. It's it's a bunch of malarkey. Okay.
Yeah. And if you look at the last 100 years, it keeps hitting record highs.
Yeah. Like, it's going to be higher, right? I mean, that's just the way it works.
Eventually it will be higher.
Eventually.
And it doesn't hit record lows. But it hasn't gone back down to zero. It started. So we have times where it's bad, like 2008, the market was bad, but
brutal.
And 2022, the market wasn't great. But you know what? Every year in between has been pretty good.
Yeah. And so let's talk about logistics here, Tony. So if you have a old 401k, you have those options that we've already discussed. Okay. So basically there's 4 options. But if you actually do a rollover and they make that check out to you, it's okay. Don't freak out. Okay. Because what you could do is you could take that check and within 60 days, you can put it into a qualified plan, whether that's a new 401k or an IRA. So you have 60 days to do that. Now, you can't do that if you've had one already performed in the last 365 days. So if you've changed jobs a couple different times and you did have money and you rolled it over, you can't do it. Okay. So make sure that you kind of follow the steps there. That's why I always say, Tony, the best way to do this is not an indirect rollover, because that's an indirect rollover, is to do it a direct rollover where your money goes straight from your 401k provider and the check is made out to your new custodian.
And you never see the check. A direct rollover, you never get a check, because if you would happen to deposit that into your account, that's really bad. You're going to then pay the taxes and the penalties.
Right. And you might see the check, because a lot of times providers have to mail it to the address of record. So you might see the check, but it's going to be made out to the new custodian, and it's going to say FBO, for the benefit of whatever your name is. So, that is the best way to do it, a direct rollover. But don't freak out if something happens. And by the way, this happens a lot. We just got an announcement this week that Voya is buying out AUL, or the One America is what they're known by now. They're a huge provider of 401k plans. That universe is always changing. And it is, I will tell you, we have a local business here that used One America. And it is not a smooth process at all to get money out of that plan. It's just, these things happen, right? Companies go through cycles, and they've determined that the 401k business or the retirement plan business is just not for them. So my point is that affects people, especially around here. They're a huge employer that has happened to. And so, you got to kind of like fight through that. And again, if they did that to you, if they made out a check to you, it's okay. 60 days, get it to the new plan, not 61 days or 62 days.
No,
in 60 days. That's a very strict timeline, folks. Okay. So let's make sure we get it in right away. As soon as you get that check, just take care of it. Don't put that off. Okay. If that happened to you. All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do any of this without working with a financial services professional like yourself. For our listeners and viewers out there, you have to work with somebody like Brock. Otherwise, you could make really costly mistakes when you're rolling over a 401k or dealing with any type of retirement funds like IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, deciding Roth 401k or Roth IRA versus traditional. There are so many tax implications or one thing that you could really mess up and could be costly.
I hear all the time, Tony. It's like, I don't know how you do what you do. There's so many different aspects to the financial
and laws of the IRS,
laws and rules and different plans and all these different products out there. And then listen, folks, that's why we exist. Tony hit it right on the head. This is why financial professionals exist, to have all of this information. It's like going to a specific, physician, right? A specialty physician where, they're oncologists and they work with people that have cancer or whatever it is. We're here to help people with retirement. That's what we focus on here at Alspaugh Wealth Management. So anyway, to your point, Tony, it's difficult, but that's why people exist like us. So if you need help, give us a call, folks, at 573-332-7855, or you can request a consultation with us by going to our website. It's alspaughwealthmanagement.com.
All right. Well, Brock, great show today. It's so important to stay on top of your retirement accounts like your 401ks. And if you're going to do a rollover, speaking of rollovers, I've got a theme for today.
Rollin', 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 rollin'.
Tony Shore, everybody. Tony Shore.
All right. Great show today, Brock. Listeners,
you too, buddy.
Give Brock a call, 573-332-7855. And that does it for today's episode of the Retirement Playbook with our host, Brock Alspaugh.